Welcome to OnSchooler. My name is Cynthia and I'm here to help you get started. I'm filming from my home office here during the coronavirus quarantine where I will be working for quite some time, I'm sure. So the first thing that you're going to want to do after you set up an account on OnSchooler is decide which units you want to use. And it's very simple to begin. We have three main series that you'll choose from. You can choose from the Foundation series, which is for students that are not yet reading, or the Knowledge series for students who are reading totally independently on their own and are ready to tackle grade level 2 to 8 material, more or less. And then we have one other program that you might be interested in for the kids who kind of fall in between. So we have a program called the Bilingual Reading Acceleration Program. It was partially funded by a National Science Foundation grant, and it is fully translated into Spanish. And what it does is it takes the 500 some most commonly used words in the English language, and it teaches them as vocabulary, as spelling, and as reading. And so it has both an online and a hands-on component, just like all of the rest of our lessons. And so you'll want to make sure you print out the notebook, and you'll also spend some time reading with your kids. So if your child is an emergent reader, maybe a little past sounding out, but not quite as fluent as you would like, and you're thinking that school will only be out for a couple of weeks, I would recommend using the bilingual reading acceleration program. You can use it in both languages or just one or just English. It's not really meant as a standalone for Spanish, but you can do it in just English or English and Spanish both. So that's where you want to start at. If you're not really sure, go ahead and email me. I'd be happy to help you out. If you're sort of unsure, we could sort of mix and match a special program for your child also. Okay, so if you're starting in the Knowledge Series program, that's what this video will be continuing on for. Otherwise, click on the links below to go to a different program. But for the Knowledge Series, it's split into 12 units for each subject. And the way that our program works is we have 8 subject areas, and there are 4 major subjects, as you would expect: math, science, communications, and culture. And culture is what we call geography and history and all that type of thing mixed together. Communications is your English, language arts, spelling, reading, everything all together. And of course, you know what science and math are. And then, so in each unit, there are 100 lessons. Those each get 15. And then at the same time, we have our 4 minor subjects, and those each get 10 lessons. So that is the arts, technology, personal development, and then you can choose an elective program. So you can do like a Spanish on Duolingo. We have a Bible program. It's totally standalone. It's more of like a literature type of program. Or you can do any other subject that you want to do during that time. Okay, so that's sort of the general overview of how the subjects work. So what you're looking at right now is you need to decide if you want to do all of the subjects, and they're all sort of integrated to work together. So whatever you learn in one class is often reinforced in another subject. Or if you just want to focus on the 4 major subjects, the math, science, communications, and culture, or if you just want to have some fun and take just the technology or art classes, it's just trying to keep your kid's brain kind of going and give yourself a little bit of a break. Or if you want to just focus on one particular trouble area, like just math or just reading, just to get those ramped up as quickly as you can before school starts back up again. Sort of like an intensive tutoring program that you might do during summer break. So that's what you need to do first, is decide what your schedule or what units you want to do. If you're going to do all of them or just a few. And then the next thing you want to do is come up with a schedule. Now, I have really great news for you. Our schedule, if you use our whole program the way we recommend, is very simple. We just do 2 lessons a day. You do 1 before lunch, 1 after lunch. Now, it's not easier or shorter day. It's not like, you know, you hear sometimes homeschool students go to school for like half an hour a day. That's not what I'm talking about. So it's 80 minutes on the computer, 80 minutes hands-on with a break in between, and then lunch. 80 minutes on the computer, 80 minutes hands-on with a break in between, and sort of your cleanup and that type of thing. And so that's the basic idea of how our programs work. So for example, if you're going to do the full program, we usually do the elective programs on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the major subjects on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you can decide when you print out the teacher's manual for Unit 201. It'll have examples in there for you. It'll go over all these things in more detail. So take a look at that in the teacher's manual. It'll have an example of how you want to set it up. Now again, you can do it however you like. But for simplicity, I would recommend just doing 2 lessons a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They're long. They're meant to take the full 3 hours. If you're working with an older child, it might not take that much time. It probably won't. In fact, part of our goal at the beginning is that school should always be easy and successful, and you should get 100% on everything. And then we slowly make it harder and harder and harder until your child is still getting 100% on everything, but doing really hard work. Okay, so that's the idea. What we're going to do starting tomorrow is I'm going to walk you through each of the lessons in Unit 1. We also call it Unit 201 because the knowledge series is Series 2 and it's Unit 1. So we have 201 up through 212 for our 12 different units. And then in each of those, you'll see the numbering system of what lesson it is. So for example, math has 15 lessons, so it'll be 201.01 or 201.02. And so that's how we organize it so you know where you're going. Now, if you don't want to do Unit 201, or if you're not doing all of it, or you're just doing some subjects, or let's say that your student was really struggling with learning the map of the United States, you can just jump ahead to Culture Unit 4 and just do North American Geography. That's totally up to you. But if you're here because you want to do something fairly well-rounded and keep your child busy, and you suspect it could be more than 2 weeks before your school starts up again, then just follow along with us day by day. I'll be talking you through each lesson individually, showing you examples, click here, click there, print this out, glue that there, that kind of thing. So the other thing I want to reassure you is our system is very, very simple. It's used by both teachers in classrooms and by homeschool parents, and neither one of those groups has much spare time. They don't want a whole bunch of prep time. They don't want to print and cut a million things. So there's a lot less paperwork in our system since the computer actually does most of the grading and that type of thing. The textbook is all online with the interactive lessons. So what you're looking at is basically projects. There's some, writing sentences, a few math worksheets, but when it comes to science and culture and technology and the arts, you're mostly doing projects. So you're not going to have a big stack of papers at the end or anything like that. Anyways, so get started with that. Go and look at the lesson catalog, pick out what units you want to do, and then come back here.